Hey everyone, welcome to another Timer Tip Tuesday. Today we're going to be going through some recent updates made to race day scoring that are all about cross country. Today's session is going to be recorded just like all of our other sessions that we do. Will be available on the RunSignup, GiveSignup YouTube channel after the fact, so you can go back and reference this later. Additionally, if you haven't used GoToWebinar before, there is a questions panel in the side like docked area. You can use that to type a message in. We do have a few folks in the back end, it looks like, helping out respond to any questions that you have. And we'll bring those up if they're good questions we think that others should be made aware of. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Again, today's all about cross-country updates, just a few things that we've made improvements to as the season has progressed. So some of the things we're going to cover today are unattached runner support, mile split reporting and exporting, finish links participant data autosaves, an improved spreadsheet import flow for participants and teams, and the ability to create team rosters for all scored events. So if you missed this, we did do a really nice deep dive into cross-country scoring setup and configuration over the summer. And that's still very relevant and is very up to date with most of the other features that we have. So it's a good session to watch if you're still learning about how to set up cross-country races in general. Today's session is going to be more just an overview of some of the new little tweaks we've made. So that's available on our blog, also on our YouTube channel. Check it out if you haven't already. All right. So the first thing we're going to talk about today is we now have the ability to support unattached runners in reports. Basically, they are runners in cross-country events that are not part of any team. So there's now a setting in the team finish list report that will allow you to include these types of runners in the results. So what happens is those runners who are not a part of a team do not get a score, and their position will not affect the scores of other runners. And also, there's no need to create an unattached team to assign these participants to, nor an unattached team type to assign teams to. All this does is it says anybody who doesn't have a team association gets put in there, and they're considered unattached for scoring purposes. So it's not quite like how things were done in Race Director, where you had to set up a team called unattached. That's absolutely not necessary with the way that we've done this. All you need to do is go into your finisher list, team finish list report, and check this box to allow unattached runners in the filters and sorts area. And so on the right here, you can see this is what it looks like if I have that setting enabled. The first person happened to be unattached. There's no team name for them. Their team score is incomplete. And you'll see that the score, like for the second person, Tedron, it's 1. Now, normally, if Marbek were on a team, his score would be 1, and then Tedron would be 2. Because they're unattached, they don't even count towards scoring whatsoever. So that's how that works. And you also see down the road, there's a position 24, Steven, and he also is unattached. So we have some other things we'll be planning on introducing related to unattached runners in other areas. First one being the ability to support unattached runners in TFERS exports. Right now they aren't included. And a few things in the display here. We want to make this look a little bit better for unattached runners. Basically, change the what displays like team score and complete doesn't quite make sense for an unattached runner. So we may show X or just does not score for those score and score values. Also may look into replacing the team name with unattached so that people understand that these are unattached runners specifically. So look for these types of improvements coming later. Let's just see, were there any questions? Nothing yet, great. So the next thing we'll talk about is mile split. So mile split, has a predefined format that they expect their submissions to be in. They basically expect 1 section per race. So like the boys JV, girls JV, boys varsity, boys JV. And each race has a detail and summary section in that file. So for each of those start times, like the boys JV, there's going to be a detail and then a summary section for those. So we've added this new mile split report section when you're building reports. This adds in two sections when you select, I want to add a mile split section in this report. It'll add a detail and a summary for whatever event you have selected. So if I've selected college men and then selected mile split, what will happen is it will drop in two sections, one detail and one summary. Now, if you also had team types, like in this case, I had NAIA and D3 combined in a single event, it would drop in 4. So those will be broken out automatically. So the important thing is that you leave these sections together. Basically, you'll have like an overall list and then a summary for each of the events that you have in the report, and you don't want to move them around. So just add the sections in and save the report as is. So once you have the report created with all the report sections you need, you'll see it in the list of reports, just like any other one. You can view it if you like to, but really what you're trying to get after is the export. And you'll notice that if you have added report sections of that mile split type to it, you'll be able to see this mile split option in the export dropdown. So basically that is a special type of export that we've made. You'll see down here, you'll be prompted to enter in the course name and the city and state that it was ran in, and then just select export to CSV and it will create a file for you. And so here is an example of what it might look like. We'll see that I have, this last race I was working on with Marbeck in first there. You'll notice that we do support the unattached runners in this mile split export, so that will be working just fine. You'll see we list out all the team members and their results, and then the team summary beneath that, how the team standings were generated. So this should be sufficient for mile split in order to get results uploaded there. All right, moving on, talk about finish links. So we have added a new way to automatically save participant data to a file. So basically, we've added this new finish links report section and an autosave associated with it so that you can keep your finish link system up to date with the most accurate and up-to-date participant information from RaceDay scoring. Now, this can be used in any type of race, not necessarily just cross-country. It's just a very common thing to use it for cross-country because they like to have all their camera systems up to date, or if they do like leaderboards and things like that on finish links, they want to make sure they have the most up-to-date info. So this will allow you to do that more easily. So in addition, we've made this we made this new all scored event selection option when you're creating a report, so that you can add a single finish links section that includes everybody in it instead of having to do it for each and every single scored event in your race. So you'll see here, you just click all on the events to include and then finish links, and it will drop in a pre-race team list section in here. And basically this is just going to show all of the participant info in a format that is accepted into finish links. So now that if you save that report, you'll see there's a new button there that says finish links autosave settings, and that will allow you to basically save this file periodically with a few different configuration settings that you'll have to look into. So you'll need to just click that and set it up. So you got to decide how frequently we should autosave to this file, what folder path or where it's getting written out to. A few different options. Would you like to include the optional PPL file? Would you like to include the optional SCH file? It by default will include these. You could disable that if you want. It always includes a EVT file, but you have the option here to decide whether or not you want to separate participants by scored events. Found that some timers need to have the finish links EVT files broken up by scored event, other timers do not. So we've just given you that choice on the autosave settings here. Once you get all those settings defined, just click Add Stream and then click Save Settings. When you do that, you'll have the 3 different files, if you've said yes to all of them, included in the folder wherever you pushed it to, and you can get those imported into your Finish Link system so all your participants are up to date. All right, so let's moving on to the participant and team import flow. So prior to this update, we would require that team types were set up in advance of importing participants with teams. So team types are typically, in cross-country terms, things like if you had NAIA and D3 running at the same time and you needed to split them out, you could do that. But generally, in cross-country, you just have one team type. So I've made this much easier because most of the time you have a single entry spreadsheet that has a very limited amount of information: runner names, bib numbers, school name, grade, and the team name. And basically, before this, you'd have to go in and add the team type, and then you have to go to the import. And it was a little bit confusing. So I've made that a little bit easier by allowing you to create the team type you need when you're actually doing the import. And I'll just walk through how that works. So now when you do the import and it encounters teams that do not have a team type association, we give you the ability to add a new team type. So if you're going through the import and you have said that you have a teams column, what you'll see is here, it'll say map teams to team types. It'll ask you, hey, I didn't see that this team 1 was associated to any team type. Which one should it be? Now, in this case, I didn't add anything, so I couldn't even select any team type from that dropdown. You could, if you did already have team types set up, you could map it there. But if you don't have any, you now have the ability to just click this button, add new team types. After adding that new team type and you select which scored event it's valid for, you map the teams to the new team type in the following screen. I'll show you that. So in this next screen here, this is after I've selected the add new team types button, and I can just type in what's the team type name. Typically, I just say teams or cross-country teams or cross-country. It doesn't really matter what you name the team type for this case. You're only going to add one. And then you just want to select which scored events. Now, you may have like boys JV, girls varsity, boys varsity. You probably are just going to select all of them. Once you got that set up, just click Save, and you'll be able to just map each of the teams here to the new team type you've created, and then click Continue, and you'll be on your way, ready to roll. So this will allow you to really easily import all of your entries just from that basic spreadsheet with names and teams, and that's it. So it should help you out for those events that are not using any kind of registration service. You're just getting the spreadsheet sent over to you, and you need to get this all set up. All right, so the last one we'll go through, and then I'll respond to some questions if there are any. Team rosters for all events. So this is similar to Finish Link's exports. You may have seen this before. We've added the ability to create team rosters that show members of all teams regardless of event. Prior to this change, you'd have to actually have separate sections for each scored event for your rosters. And it wasn't really great because usually what you want to see in the packets is a list of all of the members for some team. I don't care what event, I don't want them broken out. I just want all of the people that are part of this team per page, essentially. So what you can do now is if you just select all events and then team rosters, it'll drop in a single section for all scored events, and we'll give you something like this. So on the right, I've got Austin College team detail, it says, and then on the right of that, you can see that there's a mixture of participants. There's some in college women, some in college men, and one in cross country, which was the holding event for those who are getting moved around at the last minute. But you can see how it's just putting everybody together, which works really well. So one thing of note in this, if you are using these to stuff into packets for team prep, what you can do is don't use the print on the actual screen here. Use the print preview on the report, and then what you can do in there is actually say you want to, I forget what the setting's called, but it allows you to automatically skip to a new page for each section. so that it'll print a single page for each and every single team you have. Works really well for this scenario, but it's not supported on the standard print. It's just if you do the print preview, you can see that setting to automatically skip a page when you get to the end of the section. All right, so that's all I had for those updates. This is going to be a quick one today. Were there any questions while we're on that need to be brought up?
No, but just to mention a couple things about the team roster. One of them is the sorting is by default. It's going to be alphabetical and gender, but it starts with gender. And again, that's something you can mess with if you need to, but that's kind of the standard sort we went with. The other thing that came up, even in our first week of having this out, is this whole ability that sometimes you do need to filter by a combination of registration events. And so that'll be coming out in the build this week, where if for some reason you did need to subset on a couple registration events, you have that ability in filtering. And the third thing to kind of call out here is if he goes back to screen, it does give you the ability, if you get into some advanced scenarios where you have both like Division 3, Division 2 schools, and you really needed to kind of filter that out, your team type right there at the top will allow you to filter based on the team type.
Yeah, so when you do this for an event that does have multiple team types, you're going to be given that pop-up that says which team types do you want, and you can pick one or many. So you could say I only want JV, or I only want D3, whatever it is, or I would like to combine them. All right, I think that's all I've got today. Good luck in all your cross-country events coming up. And if you do have any questions, feel free to reach out. RaceDay@RunSignup.com is the email to get in touch with us on. We'll be happy to help you out with any of your questions. Take care. Bye.